Growing up in the golden age of Cartoon Network, it should come as no surprise to anyone that I was a big fan of Craig McCracken's Powerpuff Girls, a superhero comedy about three perfect little crime-fighting girls born from sugar, spice, everything nice, and just a dash of chemical X. In my mind, the show still holds up. Solid writing, great voice acting, character designs, and oh yeah, they did a whole episode that was nothing but Beatles quotes. What's not to love? The show also continued to be a huge merchandising cash cow for Cartoon Network, and after all these years, I'm not surprised that in 2016 someone got the idea to try and bring the show back. What did shock me though is that none of the original cast or even the creator, Craig McCracken himself, are involved in this new series. In truth, I might have just blown this whole new series off if it were not for the fact that I checked out some of the promotional clips and I chuckled a little bit, which is more than I can say about 90% of modern cartoons targeted at kids. And with all that out of the way, we have the premiere episode entitled Man Up. First, there's the all-new theme, which keeps a sample from the original opening tune. Not nuts about it having words, but this shortened show version is much better than the extended version that came out before the show's release. I don't know, maybe I'm just a soft mark for bubblegum punk songs. As we join the show, our heroes Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, again as I mentioned, voiced by all new actresses, are attending a hippie carnival. The new actresses do an adequate job, but I will say the hardest thing for me to get over in this first episode was trying to unlearn everything I thought I knew. Buttercup still has a forceful personality, but is a lot less raspy in her voice. Blossom is still kind of bossy, but now has a bit of a Valley Girl cadence from time to time, say what? And lastly, there's Bubbles, who seems to be the only one actually trying to ape her original counterpart, and I mean really, when you were originally voiced by Tara Strong, why would you ever want to mess with success, am I right? The girl's nice outing is ruined by the appearance of a new villain calling himself Man Boy, who has all the powers of a man and all the youthful energy of a boy. He can also rip off his beard and grow a new one, and whittles weapons of mass destruction, and you know what, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I know full well what happens when people attempt to navigate the minefield that is talking about gender issues on the internet. All I will say is that if the silly cartoon for children makes you mad, then maybe it says more about you than anything else. Buttercup manages to beat the bad guys by giving into her Wolverine-esque berserk rage, which is a problem because in that state she can no longer differentiate friend from foe. All the while, the hippies don't seem to care much either way, and you know what, that offered up my first real chuckle of the episode. To try and purge herself of her anger, Buttercup and the others begin taking lessons from a friendly guru. This scene is a nice opportunity to showcase the girls' personalities to new viewers, and let's face it, there's probably going to be a lot of those. Like how Blossom is a little of an overachiever, or Bubbles is well-meaning, but often comes off as a lot dumber than her sisters. On the animation front, you'll notice Powerpuff Girls 2016 does away with the heavy black lines that were such a major staple of the OG show and replaces them with something much more modern. The colors are all still very bright and vibrant, but I have to say, speed becomes an issue. If you'll remember, the original series was so fast, not just in the animation, but in the writing and action scenes too. Powerpuff Girls was so fast and snappy, but here it's all kinda sluggish. And yes, this one does clock in at around 11 minutes because, hey, that's the way all cartoons seem to be going these days in the post-Adventure Time, post-Steven Universe world. Now, on the subject of action, one of my favorite things about old-school Powerpuff Girls was how these sweet little heroes would brutalize their foes. In many ways, it was one of the last true hurrahs for cartoon violence used for comedic effect. I'm talking cracked head plates, black eyes, broken teeth, broken arms, that sort of thing. Oh sure, the bad guy in this first episode gets hit, but it just lacks that comedy overkill factor. And yeah, I know they kind of toned down the violence on Powerpuff Girls and used more white flashes as the series went on. In fact, they would do a whole episode making fun of the new limitations that the show had, but still, just something to mention. Maybe this will change down the line if they're fighting a robot or a monster that they can get a little rougher with, but that's yet to be seen. In the end, Buttercup comes to the realization that to be a good person and a good hero, she can't ignore her angry feelings, that she should instead try to learn and make peace with both sides of herself, balance being a pretty good lesson in my mind to teach kids. Man Up was a premiere episode that, despite a number of stumbling blocks, showed that this new 2016 iteration of Powerpuff Girls might just be able to find an audience yet, even if that audience doesn't include me. If I had to peg what the first episode reminded me of, ironically, it's Friendship is Magic, the show started by McCracken's wife, Lauren Faust. It's just funny enough, just action-packed enough that I managed to sit through the whole thing, even if the new voices and direction left me feeling a little cold at times. I give this one a 6.5 out of 10. The first episode is available now via iTunes, and the first episode will make its television premiere on April 4th. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll feel like checking out some more videos I have on offer here at Cape Joel.